It's time to call childhood obesity what it really is: child abuse. 1 in 5 children in the UK starts secondary school obese, and 1 in 10 starts primary school this way. That's 5-year-olds obese. Parents need to be held accountable for this. Being obese as a kid is likely to lead to serious health problems, from diabetes through to heart disease. And the role of the parent is surely to nurture, care for and protect your child. If you hit or neglect them, you can be prosecuted. Even not sending them to school can result in criminal charges. Yet continuously buy and feed them junk food without encouraging them to exercise, and the consequence? Nothing. Yes, kids' weight will naturally fluctuate, but there is no excuse for clinically obese children. It's damaging, dangerous and cruel. We should start with education, but if parents don't act, it should be regarded as abuse, and they should be prosecuted. Take my tin hat and take cover, shall I?
Yeah.
Your faces.
Michelle, one word. How?
How what?
How are you going to do it? Because in some of these instances, let me just some of the background. In some of these instances, you're talking about, unfortunately, some of the poorest sectors of society as regards education and as regards money. And it's wrong, but they see a £1.99 kebab and chips or whatever it might be as value for money and a fizzy drink, and boom, and off you go. These, to then go after them, presumably the ultimate sanction being what? They go to jail, these parents?
Well,
ultimately?
I'd even take it further than that. Yeah, I'd put the parents in jail and I'd take the kids into a safe environment.
So we're now going to live in a state that takes children away from their parents because they're fat?
No, that's not... No. Let me be absolutely clear.
Yes.
Right. So, what I'm talking about here is we just said 1 in 10 children start primary school obese.
Yes.
So, by the way, I'm not talking about a child that's overweight. I get it. Kids go up and down. I'm talking specifically about obesity.
Yeah.
When you, if I'm a parent, and as I said, if I hit my child, I've abused them, I can be prosecuted and I can be put in jail. If I don't feed them, I neglect them, so they are malnourished, I can be charged and put into prison. But if I go the other way, Nick, and you talk about kebabs, no 2-year-old that I know is wandering off to kebab shops. Their food is being purchased consistently by their parents, not the kid.
Right.
And I want to come back to your point. I want to come back to your point.
These are the kids that need the most help. They don't need being stolen by the state.
Michelle, exactly. So with Nick's point, then, what do you do in terms of people who cannot afford to buy healthy
Right, and
food?
I'm sorry, but this argument does not wash with me.
Yes, it does. I grew up in a working-class community, so I totally understand this point.
Right.
You know, there are people who actually have to decide whether it's a choice between spending, like you say, £2 on a meal for a family or being able to pay the rent.
Right, so let me help you out. I'm from a very working class
we both
background.
are.
I'm not, by the way.
No.
Rachel, do you want to get involved?
I'm from Jersey, so I definitely don't.
But let me... I want to make sure you know where I'm coming from. So I'm from what people would call a deprived area. I'm one of 6 children.
Yeah.
My upbringing was... We didn't have any money. And my mum made...
from scratch.
Everything from scratch. And when I hear this argument peddled out,
do you
it
know
annoys
how long
me.
that takes, though, Michelle?
So what?
I mean, it's so much. Also,
this isn't one of your dinner parties, love, with polenta.
Cooking from scratch is not cheap.
It's also energy intensive.
I think there are a few things. I mean, I think it's very extreme.
3 jobs.
Someone would have to be in a very extreme situation in order for them to have their children taken away and then put in prison. I think we'd have to go a long way down the line before we get there.
Them like a Strasbourg goose.
But I think the obesity crisis, I would go so far as to say, is a state-sponsored obesity crisis through decades, because obesity is a result. Obesity is a result of a combination of factors. If you go back to the 70s, there have been over 10,000 school playing fields sold off to the private sector. In the last, from 2010 to 2013, 1 school playing field has been sold off every week. So unless you bring everything together and give people the opportunity to exercise, to educate them, to give them the time to prepare meals. That's another part of it. You know, single-parent households, mum comes back, she's got her 2 children from a long day work. It's the quickest. There's not even any washing up.
And also subsidies. If that's the case, and we need to look at how we subsidise people to be able to afford to buy this healthy food that you're.
Let me ask you all a question.
Forcing them.
Do you agree with me that child obesity is a child abuse? Yes or no?
I agree that it's out of control and something needs to be done.
Too simplistic a question.
Yeah.
So let me show you something. Let me show you something. Okay. Take a look at this. Right, now when you see that child, that is a young child.
Graham, did you agree to have that shot? Did you allow them to run that, Graham?
Thanks for the tip, Graham.
Scandalous, as he tries to push his chest out.
You don't look at that. And so I look at that and I think, I want to get hold of those parents. They are killing
that kid. If that's all they've ever known, if that's what the parents have...
I agree, Michelle. I agree there should be. I agree there should be intervention. I think in those situations, in those extreme situations, there should be intervention. It should come from schools. Yeah. It should come from people that work.
But you do not take those children
I'm not necessarily saying you do anything to the parents, but there should be an intervention. So there should be a way of accessing support for the family, for the child in that situation. Yeah. But going back to my point about the state lack of interest in health and exercise, you know, primary schools, they have less than 2 hours a week, these children, to exercise. And that's probably the only exercise they get. Yeah. Very few of them walk and cycle to and from school. They don't do anything out of school hours because a lot of sports now are
video games and,
so what we've done, we've created this... it's not even a time bomb now, it exists. And I feel that in these situations there should be a watch list of people and parents in situations, and I don't solely blame them. I don't think we can jump to that step of calling these people child abusers. No. I think they need to be helped in a way out of the situation they're in.
And a lot of this stuff is generational as well. It's education.
Well, I'm a fattist. I mean, and I think that we've got a serious problem with obesity because it's going to be the fatberg that's going to sink the NHS eventually. But I think it's wrong to criminalise parents. It's really complicated when you've got an overweight child.
So what do you do when the education doesn't work?
Because the child, it's not as if the child's not aware of it. The child is very aware of it, probably being
and ostracised as a result.
So I think don't point at me. It's not me doing it. It's the parents doing it.
But it's not the parents. If it takes a village, as Hillary Clinton said, to raise a child, it takes a whole system to create the obesogenic culture we're in.
Answer Michelle's question. If the child continues to get fat and the parents do nothing.
It's the schools, it's the local council.
Can I just be clear on what I'm saying?
It's the people who put vending machines in schools.
Let me be clear, and then as Nick's saying, I want you to
gates.
answer me, right? So my point is, I'm not saying going to houses and take kids out as step one.
Well, you are saying
No, hear me out. I said I'm not saying it's step one.
It shouldn't be a step, period.
Step one should be education. It should be an intervention and an education. Step 2 and 3 can be education. When the education is not continuing,
I agree with that.
and you keep pumping this kid who cannot make his own decisions, he's 3 years old, 2 years old, you are pumping him.
That's what social services are for, though.
Yes, which is what Michelle is saying.
I still think there's got to be a solution. It's very simple for me. What I eat, I need to burn off. That's how I look at my life.
Not Afghanistan.
But if I eat something, if I go out for a big meal, I immediately know, because of my sport background, I presume, and I grew up in a very healthy environment, so I would naturally burn calories off. We don't have that outlet now.
You should have the amount of exercise that you need to take on each food product.
And basically, there's a very simple framework that you could put into. There's a very simple framework that you could offer people to prevent this sort of thing. And then, if they're not taking you up on that, then there has to be more sort of active intervention.
You're all dodging Michelle's question.
You're all
dodging Michelle's question.
What do you do when it doesn't work?
Michelle, can I ask you a question? Have you ever been obese in your life?
No.
So therefore, you don't have any concept of what it feels like.
Well, hang on, none of us have been in the royal family apart from her, and it didn't stop us discussing.
No, but my point is, if it was something that you'd actually struggled with, you'd actually have more compassion.
Of course you would.
Fine for you to sit there and say that if you've been thin your whole life. No way.
I can't look at that picture and feel utter disgust because I haven't experienced being obese. Come off it. I look at that picture and I think, you know what?
I feel pity. I don't feel disgust.
Pity, exactly. Exactly.
Furious.
Where's your compassion?
Parent.
Really?
My compassion is for the kid.
If you've never struggled with food in your life, then I'm sorry.
Nonsense.
You are not in a place to talk about
And none
this.
of you answered my question. When education fails, none of you have got an answer for me as to what you do. So I'm going to keep my answer.
Education done right will always succeed.
Right,
That's
listen,
the
we can continue this argument over lunch.
Yes,
a nice
please.
lunch.
After you run around the block 6 times or so.